Namaste. Yesterday I talked to you about the tipping point. And the tipping point that I'm talking about is gloom and doom? Or are we all going to do our part and awaken and contribute to the awakening of those around us and bring us into a flowering of the earthly, where every sentient being has assumed their birthright. Their birthright is to exist in the state of joy, because that's all there is, the oneness, the unity, the divinity. And yesterday I said, I'm always optimistic, so I lean towards the awakening. And I said that this contribution is one of the things that I'm doing that's within my within the realm of possibilities for me to do this YouTube sharings. I'd like to ask you a question. Who's going to swing the pendulum? Who's going to tip the tipping point towards universal awakening? And my question is, who then, if not you? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Who then, if not you? All the little U's add up to the big U. And the big U is where we want to be, the unity. The little U's are all about separation and division and the ego. And so what I'm looking to you to start actively contributing to this glorious outcome, or at least stop. First step is to stop participating, stop encouraging, stop supporting, stop believing, stop enhancing all that would tip the scale towards the end of human existence. And that's greed and jealousy and materialism and success and desire and worry and fear. All of those characteristics just perpetuate, continuate the path to doom and gloom. And it seems, if I wasn't optimistic, it seems if I look at it objectively, it's too late. Once you notice it, it's too late. But I don't really believe that. So this is, I mentioned before, wake up. So either make a mindful decision to live in the moment, to deconstruct your fragile, desperate ego, to divest yourself of fears, so until you're ready to be an agent of change towards the universal awakening, at least stop contributing to the other stark possibility, the end of human existence. At least as how we know it on this plane. I'm sure that will be lifted. Will be lifted. Rapture. The Christians talked about it. We'll all be lifted in unity. Leaving Mother Earth to her own devices, which I have to say, she'd be a lot better without us than she has been or is with us. And in the workings of the universe, nobody truly cares or is invested in the perpetuation of all these human doings, civilization, technology. I'm hurrying up. I feel a sense of urgency to finish these 333 sharings, because I really feel that either way, whichever the tipping point is, towards doom and gloom or towards 100% spiritual awakening, claiming our birthright, dwelling in a constant, consistent, all-encompassing sense of joy. There's the choices. So I'm asking that either, I don't know who will be listening to me, but maybe in perpetuity, my audience will grow. Maybe my message will go out to more. But I'm calling from my heart, from compassion. I'm putting everything I have into it, not only in this format, but my daily existence, my meditation. First, I'm aiming towards those that are closest to me, those that are the nearest to awakening in my universe, and working with them, and seeing how it's like a dominoes, that you work with. I have a handful, and even if I get one or two, that'll make a positive difference. So no matter how small our contribution appears to be, it's immense in the sense that you're doing your part. No one can ask any more from you than that. Just do your part. If you can't actively participate in the betterment, as I've said, stop consuming, stop yearning, stop accumulating, stop envy, stop fear in your personal realm. I heard a great saying once that really meant a lot to me, that everybody's, it's like voting, well, my vote doesn't seem to make much difference. But it's all that you can do, right? You do your part, and that's it. And no one can ask more of you than to do your part, and that's all I'm asking. Do your part. So, if you're not ready to fully embark on a ambitious, committed, disciplined beginnings of a spiritual evolution, then at least stop contributing to the doom and gloom. First off, ignore it. Don't read about it. Don't respond to it. Don't react to it. I saw somewhere, read somewhere, don't argue. Let them be wrong. And I love that. Let them be wrong. Which doesn't automatically mean we're right. But we're gifting them. It's just like when somebody wants to, I know people that are very giving, but they have difficulty with receiving. And they're missing the point that by not allowing other people to give to them, they're denying them the thing they so much appreciate doing is giving. So givers are generally really poor receivers. Just like takers are pretty bad givers. Same thing. So think about it. Don't contribute. Don't participate. Don't cut out the... Except for my YouTube channel, of course. But get rid of the negative influences in your life. Realize the ego is going to fight till its dying breath to perpetuate the illusory sense of self that includes its own self-importance, which is supported by separation and division. I, me, mine. All those things human doings do. Just be. Just love. Just accept your birthright. Just recognize the oneness and unity. And that's who then, if not you? Indeed. Who then, if not you? And now, I'd be remiss to say that I frame this differently about personal responsibility. I changed it. Who then? I started from who then, if not me? And this is kind of my attitude when I started my YouTube page. This one completely dedicated to the betterment of all sentient beings. To call on all of us to snap out of our slumber and awaken to the forgotten which is our oneness, our unity, the divinity, all the light, the love, the compassion, all of these that are within. And nurture and support and fertilize all these elements that are within. And the interesting thing is what's within comes out. Within my heart, just this moment, I'm sending compassion. In the rippling, remember the stone in the water, in the rippling, my compassion that I'm sending right this minute was everything that I've got. Every inch, every element of my awareness is concentrated on sending these ever-increasing concentric circles of compassion, of understanding, of forgiveness. And remember, all these things have to start with ourselves. If you can't truly love yourself, well, I would go so far to say that you're really incapable of loving anyone else because you have no idea what love is. So unless you start all these things, forgive, love, nurture, support, encourage yourself. You have to do this first. And that's why I've said it seems like a selfish process because it's become self-absorbed. Absorbed in expressing the self with the big S that includes surrender, humility, honesty, devotion. All these things have to be inward, your inward work. And at some point, the miracle amongst miracles is that as your work, inward work, comes to fruition, starts to blossom, the song of the universe starts to emanate from every cell in your body. It's outward as the rippling stone, concentric circles, never ending. And I'm talking about a sphere here. I'm showing you one dimension, but if I could show you, it's spherical. So we're a sphere, and the sphere just... Now, I want to warn you that everything works, the opposite will work in the beginning. All the negativity, all your anger, all your possessiveness, all your jealousies have the same consequence to the rest of... This is your contribution to society. It's your own shortcomings, I guess. It's your own self-centeredness, it's your own ego. That also has concentric, spherical consequences. Nothing you say, think, or do is without these consequences. So I'm doing my part to encourage. I'm doing my part in becoming a living example of the Dharma, truly to share the Dharma. The Dharma is the unspeakable teachings. It borders on the unknowable, but as I mentioned before, the known and the unknowable, there'll always be more unknown than known. That's a given, okay? But your knowing can exponentially, can ripple, can grow, and your perception of the previously unknown becomes self-evident. That's awareness. That's mindfulness. That's a wakefulness. So remember, you don't become something. You realize what you are. We all are Buddhas in different stages of sleepfulness. Sleepfulness, is that a word? Unawareness. So in the beginning, you start with kind of, because we've trained to have in a goal, like increase your meditation, your daily meditation, get it up to an hour. Good for you. Get up so that you can sit for an hour. And maybe then eventually that you can do maybe a couple or even 3 one-hour sessions in a day if the Spirit moves you. So it seems like that you're seeking, you're journeying, you're moving, you're going somewhere, you're looking for something. In the very beginning, you have to go through the motions until you find, you make that beautiful discovery that there's nowhere to go. That old saying, no matter where you go, there you are. How true is that? No matter where you go, there you are. So work on what you've got with the tools that you were gifted. I talked about the 4 yogic paths, and how all of them leads to this, is bound for the same destination. I talked about bhakti, which is chanting and love of the Guru and compassion and This is one path to those of, I know several people that practice this. Chanting, worshiping, adoring their teacher. Bhakti yoga. Karma yoga is the people who do good things with no expectations for returns. It's not quid quo. What is that? It's not I give this and I get it back. It's not this expectation. It's selfless action. Action that helps. The masters of this don't want to be acknowledged. They're moving in the background. But they're active people. Their physicality is really vital and vibrant and strong. And they find this path through doing. But it's the selflessness. It's without expectations. And anonymously even makes it all the better. And then there's what's called Rajna Yogi, or some people call it Kriya. They talk about Kriya Yoga. And this is chi, this is prana, this is energy, mana as we say in Hawaiian. It's working with the energies. Some people are tuned into the energies, and they use their access to these energies and this understanding of energies to lead them to the ultimate precipice where they have to give up fear. They have to surrender to the unknown, and they have to take a leap of faith off the cliff. And then there's Jnana Yoga, the yoga of wisdom. These are the people that study. These are the people that learn to develop the mind, the big M mind, as their tool. And by accumulating, by a thirst for knowledge, and the knowledge that won't only be quenched with wisdom. The process of turning information to knowledge, to wisdom, was a lifetime path for me. This is what I did. Accumulate. I wanted to know more and more and more. And especially I wanted to know about things that would take me home. The home that I was born missing. With my first breath, I noticed that something was missing. This is not quite right. And early on, I could sense the guiding spirits. Early on. And primarily, I could hear the higher self. I could hear the higher self. I called him the watcher. And part of my process was for that watcher to become the watched. And what I mean by that is that I brought this Buddha consciousness, the being, the physical being even, personality. I brought this from the realms above. The watcher became part of the watched. No longer did I feel that somebody was observing me, passing judgment, a karma counter, tick, 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 tick. No longer I learned how to, with the blessing of a teacher and hard work, I learned how to defeat, how to manage, how to conquer, how to end my karmic debt. And remember here, when I'm talking about karma, karma is not good or bad. Karma just means actions. Any action that will lead to samsara, the sorrow of rebirth, the wheel. Any action that will bind you to another soul, to another destiny, to another reality, will consequently cause you to be reborn and have another opportunity. We're always given up. Isn't it beautiful? There's no time frame. We're given opportunity. But what I'm talking about now is intent. It's a choice. Make a choice. My intent is to make myself and my actions, my deeds, my thoughts, my feelings, so that they contribute to not only my general good, but the general good of all of us. So indeed, who then, if not you? As I ask myself, who then, if not me? Who would have done Hayang Zendo? Who would have done these sharings? There's a lot of other stuff out there, and I'm really glad that this will only grow. Because this kind of activity, this kind of compassion, this kind of love, this kind of desire to share the state of joy to everyone, the more the merrier. The more the merrier. And of course, I've cautioned in previous sharings that, there's some consequences. Your ego dying is something to mourn. It's like a death. It's no different than a good friend or a parent, or it's somebody. In fact, it's who you think you're the closest to. Who are you closest to than your own ego? And who would be more superficially invested in the survival the survival of this fragile illusion. So there's dark times. There's the darkest part of the night is just before the dawn. I didn't say it as eloquently as it's been said, but my sentiment, my drift is there if you can hear it. I don't know why I have a tickle in my throat. I have no water, nothing to turn to. I don't keep anything here. So I'm sure that it's quite annoying, the coughing of the lavalier mic that's around my neck. Must be pretty annoying. But again, I appreciate, just as I appreciate my own face with all the wrinkles and the sagginess and the grayness and the no hair, and I appreciate my own existence because this was indeed my masterpiece. I'm responsible for every little crease, every little sag, every little squint, every little frown is a consequence of something that I thought or did or felt. So Bob Dylan had a beautiful song. I quoted him yesterday, but today it's When I Paint My Masterpiece. Well, here it is, folks. This is it. And this is a culmination of everything and every person and when you look at my face, It's the sum total of this physical incarnation. I'm naked before the world. Unless I wore a veil or something. Everything about me is available to those who know how to look. Just as I can look at people and pretty much see everything. Don't worry, I don't want to know your dirty little secrets. I have no interest, But I can see what motivates you. I can see what pushes you. I can see what punishes you. I can most importantly see your regrets. And this is something that you can work on. No regrets. I've had a few people that I had, that I couldn't let go of. I couldn't let go of the situation. So in the last year, I reached out and I did my part. I put my cards on the table. I just exposed myself for what I am and all my shortcomings and asked for forgiveness. And the most consequential person, the deepest karma that I had with an individual, she just chose at least not to acknowledge it. So either it was too big a task, I just asked, can you forgive my trespasses? And I don't know the status of that, but she certainly didn't reach out to me, and I suspect that she wants to hold on to them until they're no longer useful to her. But I closed that chapter. I could let it go. I can just send love and understanding and sincere, deep regret for any consequences that had a negative impact on them or theirs. Acknowledge, ask for forgiveness, and then that's it. You're free. I was free from a huge weight that I used to carry on my shoulders. I was a free man. So it really mattered not. I did everything that I could visualize in my circumstances, did everything possible. Mostly owning up to my mistakes, to my shortcomings. And then having the courage to ask to be forgiven. Not an easy task. But the payoff was that the last remnants of karmic debt, of anything that was holding me to this plane, was relieved. I was able to just let it go. Me and Buffalo, always my buddy Buffalo, always talk about just let it go. Just let it go.